Should you take action in the pursuit of your desired creation or manifestation? Should you?
The issue is too many people think that creation or manifestation is independent from behavior, when actually behavior or our actions are a physical form of manifestation or creation. My name is Nidhi. I am a teacher and a guide of creation.
And my name is Vinny, and I'm also a teacher of creation. So we're on a mission to support you to become the creator of your reality. And we have a newsletter. You can access it in the comment box on the or there's a link where there's a newsletter called the Missing Pieces newsletter. And that newsletter is designed to support you to uncover the missing pieces in becoming the creator of your reality. So without further ado, let's get back into it.
So, what were we saying? So we're saying that one of the big understanding in this work is that people seem to think that if you just sit there and you do the work and you're doing it in your mind and you're sitting there with your legs crossed and doing exactly
Oh,
and you're doing the meditations, people seem to think that then somehow this amazing manifestation creation thing just going to come to you and you've literally not even lifted a finger.
and then I would just add something, right? Which is there was something I was going to add, and I forgot. But this is the point: is that I've literally had conversations with people that are doing the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza recently. I've literally had those conversations, and they feel disappointed or they're losing hope because their intended or their desired creations aren't happening. And I'm like, I've just had a conversation with them. Are you taking the action? They're like, oh, that's a good point. Because as the leader said, the big point here is this, is that your behaviors are not independent of your desired manifestation. So shall we explain why? Shall I explain that? Shall I begin?
Absolutely.
This is it. What is it? Remember what, if we now go back to basic psychology, okay? Behavior is the end product of your thoughts and feelings. Your thoughts, you are electrical in nature. They lead to a chemical that cascades in the body, right? It's magnetic, right? In the body, and that leads to a behavior. So if your behavior is not changing in the physical world, then if you were to reverse engineer your lack of behavior, you would see that on a mental and emotional level, you're not changing, right? Because if your thoughts and feelings are changing, then that means if you're energetically changing, you're physically going to change, and that's your behavior. And if both are not in alignment to your creation, it means that there is a lack of congruency, right? There's some kind of conflict in your consciousness, and therefore, how can you expect that manifestation to occur, right?
I think also to add to that, there's also a misunderstanding of the whole process of creation manifestation. If you're thinking that I'm just going to sit there and something's going to come to me, and if I have to physically do something, that means it's not working for me. Because I've had those conversations with
So have
people,
I.
you have as well, where people genuinely believe if I've had to physically get up and do something to bring that creation in, I failed.
And the actual point that I made yesterday, me and Nidhi were having a conversation, and the example that I gave was this, right? And there are many nuanced points here which we're going to make shortly. The first thing is this, right? On a very general level, if you can't ask your next door neighbor for sugar, how can you ask the divine or the universe for sugar? Like, mic drop, right? So how can you do that? You can't. So physically, you've got to become the person that is in alignment to that creation. Because imagine if, I don't know, imagine you want to be healthy. Let's just take an example of health, okay? Would that healthy person, what would one of the actions be that the healthy person takes? It definitely wouldn't be burgers in their mouth all day long, right? So, as I said, one of the key points here is your behaviors are the end product of your psychology, of your thoughts and your feelings. And if your behaviors are not in alignment, you need to reverse engineer and you will uncover a set of feelings that are getting in the way of your creation, such as fear or guilt or shame, etc. And then if you take another step into thoughts, what sort of thoughts are driving those feelings? There might be things like, I'm not good enough. I'm actually really scared of doing this, right? So you've got to allow for your behaviors, your actions to come into alignment here. And then the next point is this. And Nidhi said this, there is no difference between physical and energetic manifestation. What do I mean? Manifestation, what does it actually mean? It means for something to be created in front of your eyes, right? For it to be a part of your reality. And so you as a person, you have to be able to, this is where the word discernment comes in. Okay. Discernment is so important. This is the next point now. And obviously, you can expand upon it.
Yeah.
This is why there's so many theories out there. I know that this is targeted towards Dr. Joe Dispenza's audience because that's who we are, and that's what's worked for us, and we help with that. But people that are in this work, that are doing this work, they often are not able to discern. And what I mean by discern is ultimately creation comes down to your relationship with yourself. Okay, what is your relationship with yourself? And in this case, what I've learned and with the coaching that I've done with clients is discernment is your ability to be able to be with the energetics of your creation. Okay, imagine that your creation is in front of you. That creation will guide you into either to surrender or to act, and when to surrender and when to act. Your ability to read the energy is critical here, because action for me may not be the right action for you. You may need to surrender. So I'll be honest here, okay? And I'm going to share an example with you. I've had my own business, my own coaching business, different guises for 12 years. And I used to have a past where I was scared of not having money, where I had lack and survival fears. So I would push to try and get clients, and I wouldn't get them. Why? It's because the intention for that particular creation of having a practice of clients, I was coming from the wrong space. Whereas I've known when I need to act. So discernment about when to act and when to surrender, which ultimately comes from, if you rehearse that state of being, which is equal to the creation, you will intuitively and energetically recognize when you're going downhill for the creation and when you're going uphill. You'll recognize it.
Yeah, so I think ultimately what it comes down to, and just to reiterate the point that Vineet's just made, is if you're doing the work, you are very clear on your intention, you are aware of who you're being moment to moment, you're aware of who you need to be to create the thing that you want to create, then what will often happen is an action will very organically surface. You won't have had to have thought about it. It will just become very obvious. And the word obvious is very important here, because it's not something that you've logically had to muster up with your brain, like, oh, what's the action that I need to take? No, because if you're doing that, then that is your call to surrender. But if something has become organically obvious to you, then please be very, very aware of that and act on it, because that action will often be the bridge between you and the creation.
And then the point I would add to that, which is fantastic, what Nidhi said, is this is what I teach my clients. There's oneness and there's separation. When you're in separation to that thing that you want to create, you will often try and use your logical mind to work it out because there's a gap there. Okay. Your action cannot come from the gap. It cannot come from the gap. It can't come from that space of lack and space of separation. Now, when you, on an energetic level, when you mentally close the gap, that's called oneness. When you're in a state of oneness, the obvious, as Nidhi said, the obvious action or behavior to take will land in front of you. And when it does, it's your call to act.
Yeah. And just another quick point, and when it's obvious, it may be very unfamiliar. So don't get tripped up by, well, but that's not familiar to me, so how can it be obvious? Actually, if it's unfamiliar, you're more likely to be on the right path because something is coming from the unknown. So if it's obvious and it's unfamiliar, go for it.
Exactly. So I hope this has served you. If it has, then can I call upon you to please like, share, and subscribe? We're on a mission to support you to become the creator of your reality. If you do the work of great teachers like Dr. Joe Dispenza, We believe we are mastering aspects of creation, and we've got many missing pieces because of our 10-year journey. We'd love to support you further in being able to create your desired reality. And there's a newsletter, as I said earlier, in the comment box or in the description box. There should be a link. It's called the Missing Pieces newsletter. You can go ahead and you can sign up for that. In service to you, lots of love. Vineet here,
Nidhi here
over and
and
out.
out.